Hey, Dave Knight, 123daytrade.com. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. I thought I would make a short, quick video today and unbox this. I thought I was recording, but I wasn't recording. My last trading gain that I had, I was able to, um, get something out of it, and I always like to reward myself for doing something good. This last time that I did something good, what I had in my Kindle wish list was the complete Calvin and Hobbes, uh, the paperback series. I didn't. I want to get the hardback of this series. Now this one's books comes 1 through 4, and I've already pulled out book one. So book one is right here. If you don't know this by now, I'm a huge Calvin and Hobbes fan. In a previous video, let me just explain, back in December 31st, 1995, Bill Watterson wrote the last Sunday cartoon of the paper. I saved that newspaper, put it in a box, put it away, moved it over to where I lived here in Greensburg. My wife, before we married in 2001, this was somewhere before 2000, she, for a Christmas present or a birthday present, I think almost positive it was birthday present. She took this the Sunday paper, went and had it framed and boxed like a box frame, and had it in and put it into a picture frame, and it hangs in my office this day. So um, I knew that at that point, I mean, I knew I wanted to marry this woman a long time before that, but that sealed the deal for me. So this is book one, and I'm just showing you, hey, you got to reward yourself. This is just me telling you that you got to reward yourself for what you do and what you do good. Now, this is coming from some of the winnings that I was able to get out of my funded account to be able to pick up this. Now, what I like to do is take basically 25% of whatever I win and move it over to being able to buy something. Now, this costs $60. You can figure out that. But the example that I always use is the $5,000 account on the money management system, and being able to pull out half of that gain. So if you would have been able to, not if, but when you would have a $5,000 account and you would pull it up to 7,500, so basically you 50% your account, for lack of a better way of saying it. What you want to do is take away half of that money and pull it out. So Jesse Livermore, one of my all-time favorite quotes that he used is, the only safe money in trading is money that you pull away from trading. So once you pull it out of the account, it's a safe money, right? And it's money that you can do with it. Now, what I like to do with that, so if you take one half of a half, that means that 2,500, you're going to keep 1,250 back, and you start your next stab, as I like to call it, starting trading account balance, stab, STAB, starting trading account balance. You take your next stab and you use 6,250 to pull, and then you just figure out what that is. So with a 3,125, I guess. So whenever you get to that next area, then you're pulling out half of the half again. But anyway, so of the 2,500, you keep the 1,250 back, and you pull the 1,250 into the out of the trading account into your bank balance, and then you subdivide it. You subdivide it in two. So 625 towards reserve, pay taxes or whatever you got to do with it, and the other half, 625, is used to do whatever you want with. I like to subdivide that further, that 625, into half and half again. So in that case, $312.50. That $312.50 is money that I part of that is to if there's any bills or anything I need to take care of, that money, whatever needs to be done in the house, whatever. And then of that $312.50, I usually give some to the kids, some to my wife, and I'm able to purchase something that I want out of that money as well. So, like I said, this cost 60 bucks basically on Amazon, and I used that and pulled in, I think it was like $64 total, but 60 bucks being the 25%, and then you can figure out how much I was able to pull out. So I don't want to get into too much of the mathematics of it. It's too early to be figuring that out. But like I said, this was something that I had in my Kindle wish list that I wanted, and um, I don't. I mean, I have pretty much every book that every little those little books that you can get from Barnes and Noble or Amazon. Um, the last one I got was the Lazy Sunday book from Calvin and Hobbes. Um, but I like to, bottom line, you've got to reward yourself. You've got to you've got to allow yourself to get rewarded. Now, the reason I talk about this, I mean, I'm in the combine right now at Top Step Trader, but I've been in funded 4 times. So, um, first time I failed, mistake, myself, I max daily loss, hit that, lost the account. I just I had 1 tick slippage, and instead of having it 498 or 497, it ended up being closing out at like 507 something. But that commission cost, I forgot to count that in that day, and I lost I lost my first funded account because of 1 tick slippage and forgetting that I needed to count the commission cost. So that was on me, and I always say that was my fault because I didn't understand. I didn't read the fine print enough. The second time I made it up to funding at Top Step Trader, I was able to not lose the funded account, but I had to go into redevelopment. The third time I took out a check and out of funded, and the fourth time I took out a check out of funded. Now I've talked about this time being the one for the thumb. So if you watch the last video that I put together, I'm back out of the combine again, and I'm moving into what they call funded trader preparation, or FTP. So the fifth time, it's one for the thumb that I'm going after right now. I just wanted to leave a quick little message here, just me talking one-on-one with you. I know that, hey, I haven't had a shower yet, and I know it's very attractive to my 8% female audience right now, but uh, we have a nice day here in Western PA. We got a little bit of that warm up, getting up into the 60s today, so I'm going to enjoy some of this afternoon after the boys they got basketball inside today, play for rec, and then I'm going to enjoy some of the outside as well today and get out and get some fresh air. Hopefully get a nice little walk in today. Hopefully walk at least 2 to 3 miles today and do something on the outdoors to be able. But I just thought that I would share this with you today. You got to reward yourself in your trading and in your trading business. So Jesse Livermore would buy cars and yachts and houses and diamonds, and I mean, I'm not there. Would I spend that kind of money on that stuff? I did in the past. I remember I was able to buy in cash GMC Envoy that we still have, and I was able to buy in cash my Monte Carlo SS. I mean, I like the Apostle Paul talks. He talks about, I know what it's like to live with a lot. I like to know, I know how it is to live with a little. Like I always say, I like to live with a lot more. Zig Ziglar says money, not money. How do you put it? Goes so basically he says money's not important, but it's pretty close up there to breathing, right? So you think money's not important, but it's actually almost, you got to have it to live. So in other words, to breathe this air in, it's pretty close up there to breathing in air. Well, that's about it. Just thought I would share with you a little bit today. I'm on my iPad here, and let's just keep it here. That's it. So, obviously I'm excited. I thought I'd share this with you. I look forward to seeing your successes and your trading business. I mean, eventually, when I think about this, the other side of this is what would I need if I had to stop trading? If I had to stop doing what I do right now and being the independent spirit that I am, what would I do? And probably I would go back into driving a truck or doing something along those lines, the big rigs. And that once you get out of it, you make about 800 to 1,000 a week on average. So that's roughly, just call it a $50,000 business right there. Your company driver, $50,000 business, and And when I think about the mathematics of trading and where I want to be 2 years down the road from here, at least in a year's time by 2018, I mean, I don't like putting a lot of pressure on me, but I know the trading part of my business is good, but it's not where I want it to be as well. So um, there's room for growth, there's room for improvement, there's room for a lot of things. Um, so do I want to? That's like the worst lifestyle that I can think of right now. I mean, obviously it's a well-paying job, but the other side of that, you're away from home. If you're the OTR driver, you're away from home for 3, 4 weeks at a time before you get, a lot of the companies they either 6 days for one day off, 7 days for one day off on some of them. So, to get a weekend off, you got to be out 3 weeks on the road. I mean, that's a lifestyle that's obviously attractive to people that are single and a lot younger, but not for, say, the married with children people that have a family. But the other side of that is I watch my wife, and I know that she is the major breadwinner in this house, and my trading business kind of floats along and makes a little bit of money, and it helps pay the bills. But my wife is our major breadwinner, and that wasn't that way when we first met. She's carried the load for quite a long time. So when I think about where I want to be, one guy kind of must have sensed my feelings about this too. Um, it kind of hit the nerve a little bit, to be honest with you, when he said that. I was like, dude, man, I mean, you know, yeah, I mean, it's like, did this guy know my innermost, darkest secrets that I have in my heart? That, you know, I want, on one side of the coin, when I stopped working in downtown Pittsburgh, it's because of, and I guess I'll leave you with this story of why I stopped going downtown Pittsburgh. It was basically for the reason that when I went, and why I started Knight Capital Management, which is the parent company of 123 Day Trade. Why I started Knight Capital, if you go search that in Western PA on the BBB, you'll find it's an A-rated company, by the way. So my main company is an A-rated company in the Western Pennsylvania BBB. Um, and I'm quite proud of that because, I was able to create a business out of nothing except for my imagination. And what you see on 123 Day Trade is just a creation of my own mind being put forth into the interwebs. So yes, it's my baby. I'm quite proud of it. But is it where I want to be right now? Well, let's go back to the story about me driving home and taking almost 4 hours to get home one day. And then I decided that was my 2 weeks. I was done working in downtown Pittsburgh. But I remember going and driving, and I was in East Liberty. If you're familiar with the city of Pittsburgh, I'm heading southeast to go home in Greensburg. So I was going through East Liberty, and there was this man, and this was a fall season, football season here. It's, Western PA football. If you know anything about football, it's really big in this area. Steelers, you name it. So there's this man, this is before my kids even started playing football, by the way. There's this man and his son walking along the road going it looks like they were coming home from practice, but the man was sitting there having this conversation with his son. I was sitting at this red light and I was watching this go on. It was kind of warm outside, the windows open, and I was listening. But he was carrying his son's helmet and shoulder pads and shirt, and they were just walking and talking down the road on the sidewalk, walking home from practice. And I thought to myself, in my current lifestyle that I am basically working 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, plus Saturdays here and there, I'm never going to be able to experience this. Yes, I was making really good money at that point, but I'm not going to be able to experience that kind of lifestyle. Is that the kind of lifestyle that I'm leading going into work right now, the kind of lifestyle that I want? And I made a decision at that point that I wanted to be a stay-at-home dad. For better or for worse, I wanted to be a stay-at-home dad. Now my kids are 14 and 11. And, they're in a different place than I was able, basically, for the last 10 years of their life, be at home from 2007 through 2017. I've been able to stay at home and be the stay-at-home dad as opposed to the stay-at-home mom. And so I created Knight Capital Management, and I started in the trading business and working out of the house and doing all kinds of things to bring income into the home. Um, in the end, I ended up at Top Step Trader because I looked at it as all the money that I earn from other businesses, I don't have to put it into a trading account. So then I can get my funded account and then use OPM, other people's money, to enjoy another form of a lifestyle, get back to being able to buy cars with cash. So I haven't been able to accomplish that in my life for the last 10 years. So it's been a rough. In some ways, it's like I tell my mom. I said, Mom, I got all my plates spinning except one right now. My health is better. Back when 10 years ago, if you go back, even if you go back inside the videos and look at my very first videos, you'll see that I was quite overweight at that point. But even before that, I mean, I was pushing close to 300 pounds as a diabetic. I'm a diabetic today. I'm controlled by medicine, and I've been able to cut down a lot of all that stuff, but the lifestyle that I led back there created the issues that I have later in life. Drinking a case of Mountain Dew in my 20s, boy, I'd like to go back and talk to that boy that would drink that case. I could probably drink 2 cases of Mountain Dew in a week, to be honest with you. I think I did at times. It would go down like candy, go down like water. And you think you're indestructible in your 20s, and I ended up getting diabetes in my early 30s. My dad had it, my grandmother had it, and my dad would say, don't do it, and I just went and created my own monster and became a diabetic. I don't have high blood pressure, but I have to take cholesterol medicine, and it caused all kinds of other issues, vision probably as well. I can always tell when my vision's off, and there's nothing worse. Having high blood sugar is bad, but when you have low blood sugar, that's even worse. Because then you have like what I would call tunnel vision, and basically I get to where I don't eat sometimes, and I had to regiment out a plan so that I keep food around me and eat something. But being up there, I was up over 300 pounds at my heaviest, and now I'm basically at 210, 215. And I'm trying not desperately enough to get down underneath the 200 mark. So, I like to share these personal stories with you because, being a trader is being human. I'm good at trading. I mean, that was something that I excelled at. It was something I really excelled at in outside of Federated Investors, and then going to private money management and being a hedger and hedging against S&P futures and whatnot. But it's a total different ball of wax. As I like to talk about, at Federated, I was trading billions. In private money management, I was trading millions. And then on my own, I've only been able to trade thousands. So it's not the way that you want to create your own business. I know I went reverse. But the trade-off of this is that I've been able for the last 10 years, it's been a struggle at times, but I've been able to stay at home. The heroin epidemic that's around the nation is really bad here in suburbia land, as most of you know. And keeping track and keeping just want to give the best influence I can. God's very important, and I'm family trading. I talk about it in that order is usually. It's very important to stay grounded and try to keep your kids grounded. I mean, my kids, I think, are pretty grounded overall. They have their tempers, trust me, and they got some of their dad in them. So 50% comes from my genetics and DNA, right? For if you believe in any of the science stuff, and 50% comes, thank God, from my wife's side, and at least hopefully they'll end up with the hair gene and keep their hair and not lose it like me in the top of my head. So let me leave you with that. So that story about the guy that was walking along the side and the reason behind why I do what I do. And that's what's created 1-2-3 Day Trade, because it's my personal struggle as a day trader. I had my own accounts before and I was able to make money. You go back and research. I mean, I had a broker for like what 10, 15 years. His name was Marco, and then he had to get I mean, a business partner that I used to work with that that's still in my email list. He got me thrown out, I believe. I don't have any proof of it, but I believe it was him that was able to get me kicked out of that business at one point. Out of, I mean, just it was called Infinity Futures that I had my brokerage with at one point, and I never reopened up the another brokerage account since that point. And in fact, it took me out of trading. What is I talked about like 1.5, 2.5 years, something in that area. It took me out of trading. If you go back and look, I forget. You know, the years started to start accumulating very quickly in this. But I know that in August of 2014, I started my journey with Top Step Trader. A friend of mine says, you know, this guy is legit. You know, I want you to find out, and then I can go and use it. And then I figured out, you know, there's things that needed to be changed. And you know, fast forward to 2017, and you know, Top Step Trader has really made some really good changes, I believe, as an overall. I with knocking on wood right now, looking at the next time I'm into fund it, it'll be the first time that I won't have to worry about the zero line after day 9. You know, I'll be wherever the max drawdown is at that point. You know, I don't have to worry about that next time into funded. So I'm excited once I get in there to see what I can do. You look back at the last video I put up, you know, I was able to pull out $800 trading one contract. You know, that's one contract trading in the crude oil market. When the volatility starts kicking up,